Hey all, today's verses from Romans 5 are 18 through 19. Let's dig in. Here it is in a nutshell. Just as one person did it wrong and got us in all this trouble with sin and death, another person did it right and got us out of it. But more than just getting us out of trouble, he got us into life. One man said no to God and put many people in the wrong. One man said yes to God and put many people in the right. And there's a couple of beautiful things in here that I love. The fact that it very much reflects how Paul treats things and how Luke writes about it in Acts, that Paul's entire message is, look, Jesus is already risen king. You can accept it or don't. The entire option is on us. And for what it is worth, this is the only example in the Bible of there being two races. Like, for all the concept of race that we have, this is it in the Bible. That it's not culture or nationality, that it is you are the human that wants to follow the path of Adam and, say to God, my will be done, and God goes, okay, your will is your own. And those who follow Jesus as the risen king and say, God, your will. And it strikes me as kind of an interesting, because many people's life is a bit of a gray area, and it strikes me that idea of which one we follow even connects further back into Romans, where Paul talks about the fact that, people who have never heard of the system before or never heard of anything about it still do the right thing in them because of that spark. It strikes me that really the divine difference, the dividing difference between the two groups really is whether or not we love others. Because to love God is to love others, and to love others is to show our love for God, because we are appreciating his creation. Which kind of actually goes into the fact that the reason the reason in Exodus and the Ten Commandments, why human beings and the people of Israel are told not to make any graven images or idols, is because according to the text and tradition, God already did that. He already made images, us. So the reason we're not supposed to create graven images is because, one, you can't reduce the creator of everything down to a single creation, and two, because we are made in his image, we already are that. And that's kind of a beautiful thing to me, that it really is the idea of how we choose to live it, how we choose to follow, and who we choose to follow. Because there is the option of following the one man who gets us into trouble, in the constant saying of no, my way only, and the other path that's like, well, what if there is a better way? What if the better way is to lift up those in need, to help those who are hurting, to be a decent person, for lack of better expression? But we all understand that, especially in the West, that that's what a decent person does. They help those in need. And it's interesting that that spark in us that God places there is what leads to charge in us doing the right thing. Whether we understand it or not, whether we know it or not, Paul addresses that too. That it is in that inborn goodness that is inborn godness. Christ in us. And it really is that beautiful choice that, one person, Adam's sin did create the schism, but Jesus' sacrifice closes it. So we can master the beast that stalks us, the beast of lesser instinct, the one that says me, mine, and only mine first. Because if it gets to the point where you sacrifice others for that, we end up sacrificing ourselves along the way. And although I know it doesn't really connect to the verse, it does make me think just for a moment that, how long do you choose, how often, how many times do you have to choose the lesser of two evils before you end up with good? And it's beautiful to me that one man saying yes to God, no to the world's way of doing it, means we can too. And we can say, well, no, I don't choose lesser of evil. I choose the good. I choose to do what is right and to focus on what is gracious and beautiful. So we can too say no to the world and yes to living the way God wants us to. The way that it says in Micah. He has told you, O human, what he wants. Be kindness and generous. Living out the exact same kind of behavior that he shows himself to have when he tells Abraham what to do, to continue to work. Live generously, live freely, live graciously. And Yahweh Yireh, God, will see to it. Kind of a fun thing to think about. The more we get into it, I don't know. The more we get into it, it feels like it echoes that paradox beauty. I'd love to hear what you guys think, though. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe. Just dig into it, because I like conversations. And I like being able to dig into perspective, because every story is a gorgeous one. And it's a privilege to know them. So I will see you guys on this one tomorrow for 20 and 21. See you then.